6. A footprint. Then, one year, something strange and terrible happened. I often walked along the shore, and one day I saw something in the sand. I went over to look at it more carefully and stopped in sudden surprise. It was a footprint, the footprint of a man. Who could this be? Afraid, I looked around me. I listened. I waited. Nothing. I was more and more afraid. Perhaps this man was one of those white people who killed and ate other men. I looked everywhere, but there was nobody and no other footprint. I turned and hurried home. There is something on my island, I said to myself. Perhaps he knows about me. Perhaps he is watching me now from behind a tree. Perhaps he wants to kill me. That night, I couldn't sleep. The next day, I got all my guns ready and I put more wood and young tree around my house. Nobody could see me now. But after 15 years alone on the island, I was afraid, and I did not leave my cave for 3 days. In the end, I had to go out to milk my goats. But for 2 years, I was afraid. I stayed near my home and I never used my gun because I didn't want to make a noise. I could not forget the footprint, but I saw and heard nothing more. And slowly, I began to feel happier. One day, a year later, I was over on the west side of the island. From there, I could see the other island, and I could also see a boat far out to sea. If you had a boat, I thought, it's easy to sail across to this island. Perhaps that explained the footprint. It was a visitor from one of the other islands. I began to move more freely around the island again and built myself a third house. It was a very secret place in a cave. No white man will ever find it, I said to myself. Then, one year, something happened which I can never forget. I was again on the west side of the island and was walking along the shore. Suddenly, I saw something which made me feel ill. There were heads, arms, feet, and other pieces of man's body everywhere. For a minute, I couldn't think, and then I understood. Sometimes there were fights between the white men on the other island. Then they came here to my island with their prisoners to kill them, cook them, and eat them. Slowly, I went home. But I was very angry. How could men do this? For many months, I watched carefully for the smoke from fires, but I didn't see anything. Somehow, the white men came and went, and I never saw them. I was angry and afraid. I wanted to shoot them all, but there were many of them and only one of me. Perhaps I can shoot 2 or 3, I said to myself, but then they will kill and eat me. Then, one morning in my 23rd years on the island, I was out in my field and I saw the smoke from a fire. Quickly, I went up the hill to watch. There were 9 men around the fire, and they were cooking their terrible food. Then these white men danced around the fire, singing and shouting. This went on for about 2 hours, and then they got into their boats and sailed away. I went down to the shores and saw the blood of the dead man on the sand. The next time they come, I'm going to kill them, I said angrily. 7. Man Friday. For 2 years, I never went anywhere without my gun. I felt lonely and afraid, and had many sleepless nights. One night, There was a very bad storm, and I thought I heard a sound of getting out at sea. The next morning, I looked out and saw a ship. It was lying on its side not far from the shore. Quickly, I put my little boat in the water and sailed out to it. There were 2 dead men on the ship, but no one alive. The bodies of the other sailors were lost in the sea. I took some clothes and tools, and also a box of Spanish gold and silver money. I was a rich man now, but what use was money to me? I could not buy anything with it. I want people, a friend, somebody to talk to, somebody who could help me escape from my island. One morning, I woke up and made a plan. I'll try to catch one of the prisoners of the white men. I said to myself, he'll be happy to be alive and perhaps he'll help me to escape. I watched day and night, but for a year and a half, there were no boats. Then, one day, 5 boats come. There were about 30 men and they had 2 prisoners. They made their fire on the sand and danced round it. Then they killed one of the prisoners and began to cook their terrible meal. The second prisoner waited under the trees with 2 men to watch him. Suddenly, the prisoner turned and ran. The 2 men ran after him, but the other white men were busy round the fire and did not see what was happening. The prisoner ran like a wild goat, and soon I saw that he was coming near the bottom of my hill. As fast as I could, I ran down the hill and jumped out of the trees between the prisoner and the 2 white men. I hit the first man with the wooden end of my gun, and he fell down. But I had to shoot the second man. The poor prisoner did not move. He was afraid of the noise of my gun. I called to him and tried to show him that I was friendly. Slowly, he moved nearer to me. But just then, the first white man began to get up from the ground. Then the prisoner spoke, and I understood that he wanted my sword. How happy I was to hear words again. I gave him my sword, and at once he cut off the head of his enemy. Hurriedly, we hid the dead bodies under some leaves, and then left quickly. I took my prisoner to my secret cave on the other side of the island and gave him food and drink. After that, he went to sleep. He was a fine young man, about 25 years old, tall and well-built, with a kind face and a nice smile. He had a brown skin, black hair, bright eyes, and strong white teeth. I decided to give him a name of Man Friday, because I first saw him on a Friday. When he woke up in the morning, he ran out to me. I was making my goats in the field, and he got down on the ground and put his head near my foot. I understood that he was thanking me, and I tried to show him that I was his friend. I began to teach him to speak English, and soon he could say his name, Master, and yes and no. How good it was to hear a man's voice again. Later that day, we went back to my first house. We went carefully along the beach, but there were no boats and no white men, just blood and bones all over the sand. I felt ill, but Friday wanted to eat the piece of man's bodies which was still on the ground. I showed him that this was terrible for me, and he understood. When I got to my house, I gave Man Friday some trousers, and I made him a coat and a hat. He liked his new clothes very much. Then I made him a little tent to sleep in, but for a few weeks I always took my gun to bed with me. Perhaps Friday was still a wild man and would try to kill me in the night. At first, Friday was very afraid of my gun. Sometimes he talks to it and asks it not to kill him. Friday was a quick learner and his English got better day by day. He helped me with the goats and with the work in the cornfield, and soon we were good friends. I enjoyed teaching him and most of all, having a friend to talk to. This was the happiest of all my years on the island. Friday and I lived together happily for 3 years. I told him the story of my adventure and about life in England, and he told me about his country and his people. One day, we were at the top of the highest hill on the island, and we were looking out to sea. It was a very clear day, and we could see a long way. Suddenly, Friday began to jump up and down, very excited. "What's the matter?" I said. "Look, master, look!" Friday cried. "I can see my country. Look over there." I looked, and there, to the northwest, between the sea and the sky, was a long thin piece of land. I learned later that it was the island of Trinidad, and that my island was in the mouth of the river Orinoco on the north coast of South America. I began to think again about escape. Perhaps Friday wanted to go home too. Perhaps together we could get to his country. But what then? Would Friday still be my friend? Or would his people kill me and eat me? I took Friday to the other side of the island and showed him my big canoe. Its tail lay under the trees. It was very old now, and there were holes in the wood. "Could a boat like this sail to your country, Friday?" I asked him. "Oh, yes," he answered. "A boat like this can carry a lot of food and drink. Then we'll make another canoe like it, and you can go home in it," I said. But Friday looked very unhappy. "Why are you angry with me?" he asked. "What have I done? Why do you want to send me home?" "But I thought you wanted to go home," I said. "Yes, but you must come with me. Kill me if you want, but don't send me away from you." Then I saw that Friday was a true friend, and so I agreed to go with him. We began work on a canoe at once. Friday chose the tree himself. He understood wood better than I did. And we cut it down. We worked hard, and in a month, the boat was finished. 2 weeks later, it was in the sea, and we began to get ready for our long journey. 8. Escape from the island. I was now in my 27th year on the island, and I did not want to be there for another year. We worked hard to get the corn in and to make a lot of bread. We had dried fruit and salted meat and big pots to keep water in. One evening, Friday went out to look for a turtle for meat and eggs. But in less than an hour he was back, and he looked very afraid. "Master, master," he cried, "there's a great ship near the island, and men are coming to the shore in the boat." I jumped up and ran with him down to the shore. To my great surprise, I saw that it was an English ship. But why was it here? English ships never came this way. Perhaps they were pirates. "Don't let them see you, Friday," I called. "We'll hide in the trees and watch." There were 11 men in the boat, but 3 of them were prisoners. Their arms were tied with rope, but their legs were free and they could walk. The other sailors pushed the 3 prisoners up the beach, laughing and shouting and hitting them. Then some of them sat down on the sand and began to drink. Others walked away to look at the island, and 2 men stayed towards the boat. The 3 prisoners walked slowly along the beach and sat down under a tree not far from us. They looked very unhappy. Very quietly, I came up behind them through the trees and called out to them in English. "Don't be afraid," I said. "I'm an Englishman. Perhaps I can help you." The 3 men turned and looked at me. They did not answer at once. They were too surprised. Perhaps they thought I was a white man myself, in my strange homemade clothes of animal skins and with my long hairs and beard. Then the oldest man spoke. "I'm the captain of the ship," he said, "and these 2 men are my first and second officers. Last night there was a mutiny, and the seamen took the ship from me. Now they are going to leave me, the 3 of us here, to die on this island." "Do these mutineers have guns?" "Only 2, he answered, "and they've left those on the boat." "All right," I said. "We'll fight them. But if we get your ship back for you, you must take me back to England." The captain agreed immediately and thanked me very warmly for my help. Friday ran back to my house to get all the guns, and the captain and I made a plan. The first part was easy because the seamen were now ready for a fight. We shot the 2 men at the boat, and the captain shot another man. This man, Tom Smith, was the worst of them all, and he began the mutiny on the ship. Then the captain talked to the other 5 men, and they agreed to help him. They did not really want to be mutineers, but they were afraid of Tom Smith. "Now," I said to the captain, "we must get back your ships. How many men are on it?" 26, the captain replied. "And they will fight hard because they won't want to go home. It is that for all mutineers in England, but not of all men are bad. I'm sure that some of them will help me." Just then, we saw another boat which was coming from the ship to the shore. There were 10 men in it, and they all had guns. We ran into the trees and waited. It was a long, hard fight. But by now it was dark, and this helped us very much. We ran here and there in the trees, calling and shouting. The seamen could not see us and did not know how many men they were fighting. In the end, the first officer shouted to them, "Put down your guns and stop fighting. The captain has 50 island people to help him. We can kill you all." So the seamen stopped fighting and we took their guns. 3 of the men agreed to come back to the captain, and we put the others in my cape. Friday and I stayed to watch the prisoner, while the captain and his men went back to the fight for the ship. All night we listened to the sound of guns and shouting. But in the morning, when the sun came up, the captain was master of his ship again. I went down to the shore to meet him. "My dear friend," he cried, "there's your ship. I will take you to the ends of the world in it." I put my arms around him, and we laughed and cried together. How happy I was to leave the island! My good friend Friday came with me, of course, but we left the mutineers on the island. We decided not to kill them. They could begin a new life on the island. I showed them my 3 houses, my cornfields, and my goats, and all my tools. Their lives would be easy because all my hard work for so many years. And so, on the 19th of December 1686, after 27 years, 2 months, and 19 days, I said goodbye to my island and sailed home to England. 9. Home in England. When I came back to England, I felt like a stranger in the country. Many things were different, and not many people remembered me. I went home to York, but my father and mother were dead, and also my 2 brothers. I did find the 2 sons of one of my brothers. They were happy to learn that I was alive, and I was pleased to find some family. After some months, I decided to go down to Lisbon in Portugal. I had friends there who could help me to sell my land in Brazil, and I needed the money. Friday came with me. He was always a good and a true friend to me. In Lisbon, I found a Portuguese captain who took me in his ship to Brazil all those years ago. It was good to see him again, and he helped me with my business. Soon I was ready to go home again, by land. No more adventure and danger by sea for me. It was a long, hard journey. We had to cross the mountains between Spain and France in winter, and the snow was deep. Poor Friday was very afraid of the snow. In his country, it was always hot, and he did not like cold weather. Back in England, I found a house and began to live a quiet life. My 2 nephews came to live with me. The younger one wanted to be a sailor, and so I found him a place on a ship. After a while, I married and had 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. Then my wife died, and my nephew, who was now the captain of a ship, came home to see me. He knew that I did not really like a quiet life. "I have a fine ship, uncle," he said. "I'm going out to see East Indies, India, Malaysia, and Philippines. Why don't you come with me?" And so, in 1694, I went to sea again, and had many more adventures. Perhaps one day I'll write another book about them. So, this is the end of the book, and thanks very much to listen my video till the end. And if you want me to read a book, write down in the comment, and see you in next video. Bye bye.